Now finally, Mr. President, I've come here to speak about a dear friend and a wonderful colleague, the senior senator from Florida, Bill Nelson. A Floridian born and bred, Bill Nelson didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth. Everything he's achieved in life, he achieved because he worked for it. Hard work is one of his credos. In high school, Bill raised cattle in his spare time. Not every teenager's idea of a good time, and something we never did in Brooklyn. But it led to a lifetime association with Florida's 4-H program, which continues to support Florida's agricultural community today. And just as important, Bill's extracurricular animal husbandry allowed him to save up the $10,000 he needed to attend college at the University of Florida. Public service, even then, was never far from this generous man's thoughts. He gave his first political speech as a candidate for junior high school president, a race he won. In college, he interned for Florida Senator George Smathers, whose son Bruce happened to be his roommate. But that internship turned out to be the lesser contribution of Bill's friendships with Bruce, because a few years after law school, Bruce would introduce Bill to Grace Cavert, who became Grace Nelson, the love of Bill's life. For those of us who know Bill, we know he loves Grace more than anything in the world, and they are truly a dream team. Just to watch them together, caring about each other so, brings joy to anyone's heart, certainly mine. Many of my colleagues, of course, know Grace as well and have worked closely with her. Not the least reason being that she's the authority in that household today. With Grace by his side, Senator Nelson embarked on what would be a distinguished career of public service in Florida as congressman, tax commissioner, and eventually senator. Of course, along the way, Senator Nelson would also earn the title of payload specialist aboard the Space Shuttle Columbia. As most folks know, then Congressman Nelson, who was chair of the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee, participated in a week-long space flight on the Columbia. What most folks don't know, however, was that the launch for the mission was aborted not once, not twice, but 3 times. Eventually, though, the liftoff was achieved, and Bill became only the second sitting member of Congress to leave Earth's atmosphere, where, in his words, he saw, quote, the blue brilliance of the Earth from the edge of the heavens. There's a name given to the shift in perspective experienced by astronauts called the overview effect. Seeing the Earth from the window of a space shuttle, that pale blue marble in the vast emptiness of space, makes you realize how fragile and also how beautiful our planet truly is. Senator Nelson experienced something of an overview effect, and though he already cared about the environment, he became a lifelong champion of environmental causes. Bill Nelson protected and preserved the Everglades, Florida's beaches, and offshore waters by standing against offshore drilling. There's none in Florida, and I have to say, the reason is sitting right to my left, Bill Nelson. Time and time again, when rapacious companies and others wanted to drill and risk the beauty of Florida's coastline and its economic vitality, there was Bill Nelson, like Horatio at the bridge, preventing it from happening. After the BP oil spill, Bill Nelson made sure Florida's Gulf communities got the restitution they deserved from BP's settlement. And Senator Nelson has always been a loud voice speaking about the need for action on climate change, as his beloved state of Florida gets hit by ever more powerful storms, and the low-lying areas like Miami get flooded regularly. Of course, seeing the Earth from space didn't just focus Bill's eyes downward. This man is capable of doing many, many good things at once. He kept them firmly fixed on the horizons as well. Mr. President, it will be a long time before the Senate sees a champion for NASA and space exploration like Bill Nelson. It may never see one as committed again. The Senate, the state of Florida, and the country will miss Bill Nelson, as will Iris and I. He was even-tempered, even in tempestuous times. He was always civil in the midst of such incivility. And when so many of us are prone to looking backward, trying to figure out what we did wrong or what we could have done differently, Bill was always looking forward and upward. I have had just the pleasure, not only of being Bill's colleague, but of being his friend. What a fine human being. One of my greatest regrets here is that some fine human beings are not going to be with us next time. And this chamber and the country will show they are missed. There's nothing Bill is now looking forward to more than spending time with his beloved Grace and visiting his children, Bill Jr. and Nan Ellen. Every one of us salutes the great senior senator from Florida, everything he's accomplished in his distinguished career in the Senate, and just the great man that he is. I yield the floor.